Okay, I believe I'm live. It's been a minute, but I think everything is up and running. Let me just check the sound levels, make sure everything's coming through. Okay. So it's actually been 2 weeks since I did a proper account update. So I guess I'll just go to the big things that have been gearing up. So I had to get Wampa in the account. I'm finding myself in situations where I'm always a team or two short, and having a character that can just solo a lot of teams is great, because for the cost of one character, you're getting a team. An added benefit is going into 3 versus 3 and going into that format. You have characters like Wampa or Nest who can deal with a lot of teams in 5v5, and so those characters gain so much viability when we shrink the format from a 5-person team to a 3-person team. All of a sudden the doors open up a little bit in terms of what you might be able to do with that character. So going into 3v3, I don't see how anybody in their right mind at my level can neglect Wampa, especially with the Omicron. As long as you have the Omicron to spare, that's what you should do. So it's a little bit of a detour in terms of it's not part of any big projects that I'm working on. I guess you have to get him for Jedi Knight Luke anyway, so it wasn't a total detour that I'm not going to find any value for in any big project, because I'm likely doing Jedi Knight Luke soon. So more to come on that. I don't have this Zeta on him. I think in 5v5 you probably want this Zeta, and just to open up the possibility of what you can do. I've seen people solo Sith Eternal Emperor with Wampa, in part because he's able to land a healing immunity, so I'm probably not going to use Wampa for that purposes, and I have some other Zetas that I want to apply, so we'll come back to that. Beskar Armor Mando, I got him to Relic, so you gotta love that. Put a few gear tiers on Daka. Recently, just talking with people in my guild, looking at what they've been able to do, if you are able to get a Relic Daka with a lot of health, so I'll probably switch this potency set to another health set, because the idea is you pack her full of health and you give her this Zeta, which whenever another ally is revived, she gets 10% max health stacking. And so with zombie dying, resurrecting, then you have Daka's skill, which revives. There's no limit to the number of stacks, so you can do actually a lot with a very low gear Night Sister team, because killing off the Night Sister allies just powers up Daka. So that's that's one of those characters where for the cost of one character, you can put her in a Night Sister team and be able to, for example, take out Grievous and some other teams. So that's a character I've worked a little bit on. And then Sith Marauder, obviously with Malgus coming into the game, if you're not working on all of your Sith Empire, I think that's a huge mistake. A lot of people are looking at Malgus in an optimized full power Sith Empire team with Revan, Malik, Bastila, and that's great. I think it's a mistake, though, not to think of the full possibilities of being able to split Sith Empire into 2 teams. In order to do that, you definitely need Marauder up and running, and the nice thing is he's a pilot, so you can also get a usable ship out of it, so that's why I've started the Marauder. This is probably what I'm the most excited about, though. So Akbar, going into 3v3, I wanted to try a fun team, and I noticed that I had Leia and Stormtrooper Han already at Gear 12, and you need Leia for the Jedi Knight Luke, a lot like Wampa. Stormtrooper Han, I think, is a super interesting character. I'll talk about him in a minute, but I already had them at Gear 12, and I had a lot of Gear 12 finishers stockpiled in my account, so I figured I would just take a couple characters up. I did have to push Akbar. There's a pop-up pack that's 20 bucks, and it gives you like a chance of getting a bunch of the early gear pieces. I forget the exact range, but I took a chance on that, and I got like a max pull, which was really nice, so I was able to get Akbar ready for this round, luckily. And I think this team is going to do some good things. I'll talk through the mechanics of the team really quick. So on Admiral Akbar's basic, he has a 55% chance to gain 45% turn meter, and I am going to apply this Omega on him. Don't forget that chance to get turn meter on his basic. That's going to be important talking through this. It's a trap is an interesting skill, so all of the negative status effects, it's just a cleanse, and then each ally is going to recover 9% of their max health for each effect dispelled. And then Admiral Akbar has a 25% chance to gain 40% turn meter. So I'm going to, without the Omega, it's 25% chance to gain 25% turn meter. I'm going to go ahead and apply this Omega so that when that 25% does hit, I'll get a bigger payoff for it. Reducing this cooldown with an Omega is, I think that's worth it. So I'm going to apply that Omega. And for this, Akbar gives Tactical Genius to everybody. So the first ally who uses a special ability gets 100% turn meter and recovers 30% of their health. So an ally takes a turn, uses a special ability, gains 100% turn meter, gets to go again and use another ability. So that's pretty nice. And then this, so his leadership without the Omicron here is all of your rebel allies have plus 25 speed and plus 10% tenacity. I mean, that's almost nothing. In addition, whenever an ally uses an ability that isn't an attack, they call a random rebel ally to assist. So with the Omicron, instead of getting a measly 10% tenacity, only while you're in Grand Arena, mind you, all of your allies are going to get tenacity up for 2 turns. And then if they're all rebel, anytime a buff expires, they get 3% turn meter. Then you have a small mass heal here whenever somebody uses an ability that is not an attack. And then remember the last part of this kit is calling a random rebel ally to assist. while you're in Grand Arena with the Omicron, instead of a random ally, you get two others the keyword, weakest allies. And then those allies who assisted have their cooldowns reduced by 1. This last sentence is huge. I totally missed that when I was looking at Akbar's Omicron. I think this Omicron is overlooked. Maybe it's partially rightfully so, because you are going to be limited with what you can do with this team, but I'm going to apply it. I'm going to apply it, and I'll talk through why when we look at the other people I'm going to be using on this team, especially in 3v3. The two other weakest allies, other mains besides themselves. So anytime somebody uses a skill that's not an attack, they're going to be calling the other two people to assist, and those other two characters are going to be reducing their cooldowns by 1. So Han Solo, Stormtrooper Han. Super interesting character. I've never paid too much attention to him, even though I had him at Gear 12. I just did it when I was really early in the game, and when I learned a little bit more about the game, he didn't seem that good to me, but especially in the context of the Admiral Akbar Omicron. He is actually looking amazing to me, and then there's something else I saw in his kit that I'll talk about in a minute with his relics. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to make sure everything's still fresh in our minds. So remember, Akbar has a lot of turn meter, assisting, reducing cooldowns. And so keeping with this theme, on his basic, he has 70% chance to gain 35% turn meter. Now this attack has high damage variance, whatever. Even on the high end, he doesn't really hit that hard. He is a tank. Okay, now this is a really cool skill. So Han taunts for 3 turns, and all other allies gain 30% turn meter. So again, on his basic, he has a 70% chance to gain turn meter for himself. When he does this taunt, he gives turn meter to his allies. In addition, all other allies gain another 20% turn meter when Han is damaged while his taunt is active. This Omega is going to reduce the cooldown by 1. I do think that's worth it. In the modern era of this game, you have so many dispels that it's actually not good to have a long taunt with a high cooldown. That's a big drawback. However, if we remember, whenever any of his allies use a skill that's not an attack, he's going to get called to assist, and this cooldown is going to be reduced. So he'll use this, but then Leia and Akbar will go, and his cooldown, he will get called to assist. His cooldowns get reduced by 1. So this taunt will be ready to go really on a 1-turn cooldown, essentially. And then this is interesting Zeta. So when he takes damage, he recovers 5% protection. So I have him modded with protection primaries. I put protection primaries everywhere and all defense. Now his defense stats are not that high, because even with 3 defense main stats, he's at relic 5, his armor is only 66%, which is pretty low. Part of that is because if he's in the lead, he gains 40% defense. He'd be kind of busted if he had a base defense that was more in line with what we see with tanks. So I kind of understand why they do that, especially when he's able to recover 5% protection. I am going to apply this, which might seem crazy to somebody who's watching, but I'll talk about this in a minute. I have to come back and talk about his relics, because I'm going to do something else that's a little bit crazy with him. Leia, I took her pretty high to relic 7. I just wanted to get strong damage. She's the damage dealer on the team. And I wanted to put, wanted to get some respectable damage out of her, so I just cranked her up. You need her at relic 3 to get Jedi Master Luke. So, alright, so again, on her basic, when Admiral Akbar does a basic, he has a chance to gain turn meter. When Stormtrooper Han does a basic, he has a chance to gain turn meter. When Leia does a basic, she has a 70% chance to attack a second time, a 55% chance to attack a third time, and each attack has a 50% chance to grant 10% turn meter. So without this Omega, it's a 55% chance to attack a second time and a 40% chance to attack a third time. No turn meter. The Omega is what gives the turn meter, and it gives you a better chance of attacking a third time, plus 15% chance. So I think that Omega is very easily worth it, especially when you consider the dynamics of the team. Everybody's just cranking out turn meter. I'm not gonna use the Omega for her leader because Akbar's a great leader, Stormtrooper Han is a good leader. I don't think I'm gonna find use. If I'm in a situation where 2% critical chance is going to make a difference, I've probably already lost. So I'm not gonna spend that one. I'm not sure I will ever spend that Omega, to be perfectly honest. Maybe if Leia gets a ship. Okay, this Zeta is really nice, and it's gonna get us to this Omicron, so I am gonna apply it. But the skill without the Zeta, whenever Leia attacks, she has a 55% chance to grant all allies critical chance up for 2 turns, and a 55% chance to recover 5% health. Now this allows her to recover health and protection. Now the verbiage of this could be a little bit confusing. So remember, before the Zeta, these percentages are separate. So there's a 55% chance to grant all allies critical chance up for 2 turns. And then separately, a 55% chance to recover 5% health. If we read the description for the Zeta, just the heal chance, you're getting a plus 45% chance. So now, it was 55 for the heal, now you're getting plus 45 for 100%, so that is going to happen. And then you're adding protection recovery on top of that. So it's a nice Zeta to have. Probably not mandatory when we think about the rest of Leia's kit, but this Omicron is really what I'm after, so I'm gonna apply that and apply this Omicron. So I'm really investing in this team, and I'm not sure if it's gonna be worth it or not, but this Omicron, whenever Leia attacks, this is only in Grand Arena. Whenever Leia attacks, she has a 55% chance to grant all Rebel allies retribution for 2 turns, and then separately a 55% chance to grant all Rebel allies tenacity up for 2 turns, and all other Rebel allies recover 5% health and protection. So I believe this health and protection recovery is not based on any of these 55% chances proccing. This is just going to happen. So remember, this is whenever Leia attacks, not during Leia's turn, every time she attacks. Remember, on her basic, she has a chance to attack a second time and a chance to attack a third time. So she is potentially attacking 3 times. Whenever any of her allies uses an ability that's not an attack, she's going to get called to assist. She's going to use her basic, potentially attack 3 times. So that's multiple chances. It's likely to, more often than not, 3 attempts to pass out these buffs. And then that's also recovering 10, possibly 15% health and protection. So it's a lot of recovery. I didn't even talk about this skill, which is super important. So Leia gains stealth and critical damage up for 3 turns and gains 50% turn meter. If Leia already had stealth, she also gains offense up and foresight for 3 turns and gains double turn meter. So instead of getting 50%, it's double turn meter, she gets 100%. So she'll do that and then just take another turn and use her basic. So she'll be stealthed, she'll be hiding, opponents won't be able to attack her. And what's really nice is I worked on a crit damage set. And look at some of these speeds. So this probably isn't going to be Leia's permanent mod set, but I'm probably going to put this on like Boba Fett or something, but I wanted to just try this out. So I got 23 speed there, 28 speed there, 26 speed there, 26 speed there. So I got a lot of speed. That one's not great. And then just some crit chance over there on that arrow. But her speed is 329. When we think about plus 25% speed from Admiral Akbar's Omicron, we're talking like 354 acting speed. She'll hide under stealth immediately. When she hides under stealth, she'll call Stormtrooper Han and Akbar to assist. They have a chance of getting turn meter, and like this whole thing starts to get pretty crazy. So Leia will start with this. She'll get 50% turn meter herself. She'll call in 2 assists, potentially pumping more turn meter into the team. Akbar will go next. He'll, I believe, use It's a Trap, or no, Tactical Genius. I think when I was testing this out, at least when I just hit auto, it might be different on defense, but when I just hit auto, he uses Tactical Genius. Then he uses Tactical Genius. He calls Han and Leia to assist. Han goes, he uses his taunt, calling Akbar and Leia to assist. Then he'll just do his basic, potentially pump more turn meter. Again, when he calls Akbar and Leia to assist, they're potentially gaining turn meter, and any damage they have taken gets healed up through Leia. He also pumps some turn meter to them. And then as your opponents attack into Han, that pumps even more turn meter into them. So everyone's getting pumped up with turn meter. I think a lot of people are going to underestimate this team. I'm still not sure if I'm gonna put them on offense or defense, because I'm not exactly sure in 3v3 what they're going to be capable of killing. And on the flip side, I know that most people don't understand the dynamics of this team and how they work. So, I don't know. But there's one more thing I wanted to do. Stormtrooper Han has dodge chance as his mastery. And I mentioned this in one of my other videos, and it is worth a standalone video. But at Relic 9, this dodge chance is something like 25%, which is insane. So like at Relic 5, we're at 8%, 8.75. So we're talking about something like a 3x multiple going from 5 to 9. And let's not forget, he is a tank. So, you know, Relic 9 gives tanks a huge boost. So, you've probably guessed what I'm about to do here. I'm gonna put him at Relic 9. And let's see what he does. I'm not gonna have enough credits. I did have gems though. I got a lot of gems. I bought some gems. Okay. I'm gonna do something that's going to really bother me later, but okay. And here we go. So going from Relic 8 to Relic 9, because he's a tank, he's getting a bunch of health and a bunch of protection. So that's 20,000 protection. And what is that, like 14,000 health? Then his dodge chance is going from 21 to 24.5. And I think everybody has a base 2% chance to dodge. So I'm doing this. Okay, we'll take a quick look. 157,000 protection. 69.8% armor. And I do have some defense secondaries laying around here that I can slice. There. So I can probably get that to 71 in that vicinity when I am able to do a little bit of slicing. I don't know, I think that's good. Because remember, with this Zeta, he's recovering 5% protection whenever he takes damage. And then Leia, whenever she does her basic, she's has a chance. Or no, everyone is going to be recovering 5% health and protection. And Leia gets called to assist whenever people are doing non-attack skills. So Akbar's doing 2 non-attack skills, and then Han is doing the 1, but this one will have its cooldown reduced by 2. every other time he uses it, so I don't know. I think this is the team to watch out for. I'll think a little bit more. I really haven't done that much research. If you're gonna put people at Relic 9, I would recommend doing a little bit more research. There are only a handful of Stormtrooper Hans that are Relic 9 in the game, so and this is the first time we're gonna get to see Akbar's Omicron, any of these Omicrons in the 3v3 format. So Akbar and Leia. So I mean, this is a lot of new stuff. In addition to everything else, while he's taunting and all of that, he has his dodge chance 26.5%, so that's good. It's good. We'll see. Maybe this team is going to suck and I'll have sunk a lot of resources, 2 Omicrons, 2 Zetas, Relic 9 materials. I brought Leia to Relic 7. So, I don't know. I'll find out. This, man, on paper, I'm just looking at their kits and I can't see how this would not be a good team. But I'll find out in short order. Maybe it's a detour that I should not have taken. I don't know. I'm not recommending anybody do that until we have more information. But from what I have seen in 5v5, the Akbar Omicron was pretty solid. And I think looking at the specific kits of some of these characters, they're probably more optimal rebels to put in with Akbar, but where I was at in terms of just getting a few extra relics into my account. And the nice thing about Stormtrooper Han is you can use him with Rebel Team. He also has a Scoundrel tag. And then you can also throw him in as a generic tank somewhere if all else fails. So I'll have plenty of uses for Stormtrooper Han. So the character is not going to be a waste. So that's all I've got. I'm going to lock into Grand Arena, and I'm gonna get back to my day. So I'll end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you join me for Grand Arena to see exactly what that Rebel team is capable of doing. And that's all I've got. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.